Man, I can't lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. Um, this one hurts. And this one hurts the most out of everything that the Miami Dolphins have done this offseason and the new regime of Jeff Halfley and John Eric Sullivan, everything they've done. Um, this one hurts the most. Jaylen Waddle traded to the Denver Broncos. And I can't lie, man, it makes me sad. Um, I understand why they did it after seeing what they got back. Um, they got a lot back for Jaylen Waddle. And um, in the trade deadline, they were offered a first round pick again um, by the Buffalo Bills. And um, they said no to that one. They did get a first round pick back from the Denver Broncos. The trade was that Denver would receive Jaylen Waddle and a Miami Dolphins fourth round pick this year. And the Dolphins, they are going to get a first round pick from the Denver Broncos. So they have the 11th overall pick and they have the 30th overall pick. They also have a third round pick from the Denver Broncos and they have a fourth round pick from the Denver Broncos. And the picks are nice, and we'll get to the picks. But this is sad for me for a couple reasons. Number one, um, I was looking forward to seeing the potential of Jaylen Waddle with a quarterback who actually has a really nice arm in Malik Willis. Seeing Malik Willis with a cannon of an arm. Um, Seeing Jaylen Waddle play with him, I was very excited about that. We're obviously not going to get that because, Tua has gone in and out the lineup, and Tua and Waddle have had really, they've been on page most of their time with Jaylen Waddle in Miami. And, both of them were at Alabama. They went to the Dolphins together. I feel like for most of his career, Tua Tagovailoa has always been Jaylen Waddle's quarterback. He's always been Jaylen Waddle's guy. That's been Jaylen Waddle's quarterback is Tua, and you get Tua going in and out with the injuries in 24 and 22, and it's just wild to think about that 4 years ago when Mike McDaniel took over, we were looking at one of the best teams in the NFL. And we had Tua, and we had Tyreek, and we had Jaylen Waddle in his second year. And you just signed Teron Armstead. We were going for it in 2022 and in 2023. And it didn't happen. They lost in the first round both those years. But then 24, they got worse. They ended up missing the playoffs at 8-9, and then last year, starting off the year 2-7, they didn't stand a chance. 1-6 after that disaster of a game against Cleveland, and it makes sense that they traded Jaylen Waddle, but also at the same time, it's just upsetting. It's upsetting. Jaylen Waddle's one of my favorite players. I wish him nothing but the best. He will be fine over there in Denver. Bo Nix now has Jaylen Waddle and Cortland Sutton to throw the football to. I feel like that's pretty darn good. If I'm a Denver Broncos fan, I'm feeling really good today. I'm feeling really good about this trade today. If I'm a Broncos fan, but and this just goes to show that this, to me, was the final straw that broke the camel's back as to like, okay, this is a full on rebuild. We are tearing everything down. Just because we signed Malik Willis to a 3-year deal, um, doesn't mean that you know we're not going to rebuild. They are tearing everything down. John Eric Sullivan is tearing everything down, and he's starting from the bottom, starting over, all over again. The Miami Dolphins are going to have $175 million of dead cap. 35% of the cap space for the Miami Dolphins are going to be on players who are not on the team anymore. And, that's depressing. And this is going to be a rough year. You look at that wide receiver room now with Jaylen Waddle no longer on the team. We have Malik Washington as our wide receiver one. We have Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert, Tutu Atwell, Terrace Marshall Jr., Taj Washington, and Theo Weiss Jr. That's no question the worst receiving core in the NFL. Not even close. There's not another one that's as worse as that. That is a pretty horrible receiving core. But now we have this rebuild, and you have to ask yourselves, pretty much everybody's on the table, right? Jaylen Waddle, I thought, was going to be a cornerstone in this rebuild. You signed Malik Willis. All right, you got your left tackle in Patrick Paul. You got your center in Aaron Brewer. You got your running back with Devon Achane, and you have your wide receiver one, Jaylen Waddle. Cool. Jaylen Waddle is going to be Malik Willis's wide receiver one. And then they go to trade him, and it's like everything is on the table now. And it was discussed before the offseason. If you trade Waddle, is Devon Achane going to be on this team next year? And I feel like that would shatter me even worse if the Dolphins were to trade Devon Achane. I feel like that would absolutely shatter me. Now, by the way, the front office and this new regime is looking at it is, what has John Eric Sullivan preached since being hired as the new general manager? Draft, develop, and retain your own. And Jaylen Waddle was from the past regime, so they're taking everybody, literally, from the past regime, and they're moving them out. Half the team is from this new regime. They're doing things their way. Chris Greer would never just take flyers on players and sign them to 1-year deals. A bunch of players, 1 year prove a deal, 1 year prove a deal, 1 year prove a deal. And that's what he's doing this year. So you look at the draft, and it is very important, very, very important that the Miami Dolphins, they hit on these draft picks. They must have a good draft this year. Because if they don't and they whiff on these players, man, you're going to have a whole lot of smoke coming back to John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley for what they have done this offseason and tearing it down into their own image, rebuilding this team into their own image. Now, they have 7 draft picks in the top 100. That's a lot. That is a lot. They have the 11th pick in the first round. They have the 30th pick in the first round. They have pick 43 in the second round. They have pick 75 in the third round. They have pick 87 in the third round. They have pick 90 in the third round. And they have pick 94 in the third round. So they have 7 picks in the top 100. They must hit on this draft this year. Now, if they do have a great draft, and we're not really good this year, which I don't expect the Dolphins to be good, but you look at it like this: the Dolphins aren't good this year, but they have a great draft class. We have future pieces on this team. We have a quarterback who's only getting paid $22.5 million, and we go into 2027 with $127 million of cap space to spend. Now we're talking. Now we are talking that the Dolphins can actually go out there next year, this time next year, and go get some big pieces. This year we're gonna suck. We are going to stink this year. I don't know. It's only March. I don't know how this team is gonna look come training camp, and we got a long way till that. But what this Jaylen Waddle trade, what I'm getting out of this is John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley truly want to build this franchise in their own image. They want to get as many draft picks as possible, which they have. They have 7 picks in the top 100, and everybody's on the table. I feel like everybody besides Patrick Paul is on the trading block. So I wish Jaylen Waddle nothing but the best. He was a fan favorite. He was one of my favorite players in his time with the Miami Dolphins. 5 seasons. I wish he would be a Dolphin for life, but they got offered a first-round pick, and how can you say no to that? They're getting a first-round pick and a third-round pick for Jaylen Waddle. I mean, honestly, it's upsetting, but you get a first-round pick out of that. How can you say no? So we'll see what happens. And that is my reaction to the Miami Dolphins trading Jaylen Waddle today. Subscribe, comment down below your thoughts on the Miami Dolphins trading Jaylen Waddle away to the Denver Broncos for a first round, third round, and fourth round pick this year. Like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter and TikTok, Conlon_Joseph, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night for AEW. Have a good night.